Hi, I have another testimony for you, and I hope that you are blessed by it. Have you ever done something or didn't do something and later regretted it? If you're like me, you probably said, Man, I could have done this. Or if I had done this, this would have happened. Or I messed up. I should have done that. So, my testimony today is about how God worked out one of my coulda, woulda, shouldas. Some of you may have seen the picture and video of me last year when I was blessed to perform with the Guam Symphony. Very few people know the story behind it though. When I was 17, I attended college to study vocal music. My father, who was an accomplished musician and educator, warned me that talent was not enough. He said, Carla, you're behind. So you'll have to be disciplined and work extra hard to at least catch up with your peers. Now, I was the oldest child, a girl, from a sheltered environment, and the novelty of being away from home was very exciting and very intoxicating. So I didn't work hard at my studies. I was having too much fun. I went from being an A student to being placed on academic probation, and I eventually flunked out of school. Over the years, God's blessed me to have various careers, and after taking courses here and there, I obtained 2 degrees. Neither of them were in music, but I always wondered what could have been if I would have studied. I should have listened to my parents. That's what I would say to myself. Now, my musical training came in handy over the years, and God blessed me to sing in different groups and different genres. But my first love has always been classical music. I found the most rewarding way to use my gift is to encourage people in hospices, churches, and hospitals. There are stretches of time, even years, when I don't sing at all, but God has always graciously preserved my gift and increased my abilities. A couple of years ago, I was making a bucket list, and one of the items on the list was to sing a solo with the symphony. I specifically wanted a religious work because I wanted to honor God with my gift. I even remember writing it down in my prayer journal. Well, lo and behold, a few weeks later, I heard that the Guam Symphony Chorale was looking for soloists for Handel's Messiah. I was excited and I signed up right away. I had been waiting to sing with the chorale for years, and I was familiar with most of the music. I remember sending a message to the ladies in my prayer group. Y'all, this is a bucket list wish. I'm going to audition for a solo with the Guam Symphony Chorale. Please pray for me. The ladies sent me little notes to spur me on. As I went to the theater where their auditions were held, I was more than a little nervous, and I looked for a seat to wait for my turn. I could hear other singers auditioning as I sat down next to a lady. We started talking, and it turns out we were auditioning for the same part, and we started sizing each other up. I asked her, "Have you sung this part before?" She said, "Oh, sure. I sang with the Tokyo Symphony and the San Francisco Symphony," and she was going on and on. And as she talked, I thought to myself, man, she's sung in all these different places. I've only done this in high school. She was called into audition, and as she sang, I realized that I was up next, and my nerves began to get the best of me. I thought, man, I made a mistake coming here. What was I thinking? Man, I think I'm going to be sick. I sure hope I don't throw up on these people's floor. My car is just outside that door there. I can slip out and leave, and nobody will ever know. But then another voice said, but then you'll never know, and you'll always regret not even giving it a chance. I was trying to decide whether to make a mad dash for the door when I heard some footsteps walking towards me. It was the chorale's director who said, "Oh, there you are. I was looking for you. I thought you'd gone." And I thought, now you're busted. You just need to go on and get this done. So I went to the audition and I gave it my best shot. Afterwards, the judges looked surprised and they said I did well and that winners would be announced via email. I left the theater relieved and glad that I made the effort. I waited for several weeks, and when I didn't hear anything, I just chalked it up to a learning experience. A few days later, though, I received the news of my selection. I was ecstatic, and I called my prayer group, and then I called my mom to let her know that all the money my parents had paid for lessons had finally paid off. And as the time for the performance drew near, I started praying about finding a gown, which would be a challenge because of the limited resources on Guam. One of the things I appreciate about God is that He's a God of details. For example, He gave Noah the exact specifications, the type of wood, and the measurements for the ark. When we look at nature, we see God's hand in the most minute details. See, I've learned from experience that God delights in specificity in prayer. He loves you to be specific because it shows your confidence in Him, and it also strengthens your faith and the faith of others when you look back and see how He's answered specific requests. It's also a lot of fun. I have years of prayer journals, and I like to go back and see what He's done, from the big life-changing requests all the way to the ones that seem trivial. See, nothing's too big or small for Him. So for the concert, I asked Him to go shopping with me for a gown that was modest, comfortable, and that would fit my personality. This time, I had no doubt that He would come through because I've been shopping with God many times. I was excited because I wanted to see not only what He would pick from me, but it was also a chance for me to hang out with Him. I tried a couple of stores and I didn't find anything. And someone told me about a bridal shop around the corner. The shops had beautiful gowns, but they weren't quite what I was looking for to match my personality and the event. As I tried on different dresses, a sales lady would say, "Oh, but that looks so good on you." And I would say, "No, it's too tight." Then she'd say, "Well, how about this one? It's so sexy." I'd say, "Well, no, I'm not looking for sexy. We're going to be in a church. And not only that, I don't like showing my groceries." We went through about 5 or 6 gowns before she said, "Wait, I do have this one gown." She brought it out and she helped me into it. Once I had it on, she said, "It fits perfectly." And right then I heard God whisper, "This is it." I told her, "This is the one." She said, "You sure you don't want to look at some more?" I said, "No, this is it. I'll take it." Now, you may not be able to tell by looking at the picture, but the color of the gown is a deep, rich purple. Back in biblical times, the color purple was scarce because the dye used to make it was very expensive. So purple was reserved for royalty. 1 Peter 2 verses 9 and 10 talk about how God says Christians are chosen people, that they're royalty. It says, "You are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, His own special people, that you may proclaim the praises of Him who called you out of darkness into His marvelous light." As I prepared for the concert, I was concerned about my allergies. I'm allergic to metal, so I don't wear jewelry, and I can only wear certain types of fabric. My next challenge after buying the dress was to find some way to accessorize it and to find something to keep me warm. But God thought of that too. As I looked more closely at the gown, at the front, I noticed it was covered in sparkling gems. See, not only did He select a dress for me, but He also accessorized it. He gave me some bling. And that same day, I met a seamstress just hours before she flew off island to the Philippines. And when she returned a week later, She'd found some material I could wear, and she made a jacket. That's how up close and personal God is. He's involved in even the most minute details, even to the point of keeping me warm. The concert was a success and is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. I had fun singing with a great group, met some great people. I grew musically, and people said they were blessed by my solo. Sometimes I'll look back at the video and pictures from the concert, remember the story behind it, and I marvel at God's hand in that situation. See, I didn't know it, but at the time of the concert, I had lung cancer. I received the diagnosis nearly a year later, and God's hand moved in a mighty way in that situation too. But that's a different story. That audition came at a time when I was at a low point in my life. I was regrouping from a huge mistake. I had been disobedient to God's word and was suffering with the consequences. I was struggling a lot with self-worth. But God is so gracious and loving. His actions throughout this entire situation spoke volumes. He was saying, I see you, daughter. Yes, you've made some mistakes, and I know you feel worthless right now. However, I sent my son to die for you, so you're precious in my sight. That purple gown I gave you, it means you're forgiven. It means you're royalty. You're my child, and I love you. Maybe you're like me, and you've made some mistakes in your life. Or maybe you feel like you don't matter, or that no one sees you or understands. But God is El Roi. Not only does he see you, but he understands and he cares. In the 2nd chapter of the book of Joel, he promises his children that he'll restore wasted years or missed opportunities. In other words, he can take your coulda, woulda, shouldas and turn them around to bless you and bless others. It's never too late to fulfill your dreams. He did it for me, and he can do the same for you. Be encouraged. Have a blessed day.